ladies.
Hello,
Hello.
Lester.
Thank you guys so much for coming out. Paige, thank you for making it. Tracy, thank you for making it. Tanya, thank you guys for making it. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to have this conversation with me. And the fact that you were here on round one and the fact that you're here now really makes me feel like you guys are valued people on our team, and we're about to get some good content from you guys. All right. So we are, as you guys have heard, we're talking about weak men and the definition of that. So my first question to you ladies is, when it comes to weakness in men, how do you define it? What does that look like to you? I'm gonna start with Paige because you got a side angle. You said you queued up, but
As we talked about on the phone, that's a hard question. I think I feel badly, like judging someone if they're weak or not. I don't know. I guess I don't really think about it. If I
Right.
meet someone, I don't think, oh, they're weak because they didn't introduce me to someone or they didn't call their wives when they needed to. I don't know. It's just, I've never really thought about it.
Okay.
So if
so
you're
you don't
asked,
see it. You don't see weakness in men in general by nature.
I don't know if weakness, maybe men that don't put others first, if you will.
Okay. All right.
That, or maybe they don't know in a crowd of people, what they need to do. And when I mean need to do, manners,
Gotcha.
just being confident with
Being
themselves.
comfortable in the
So,
environment.
right.
What do you- Okay. What do you
Anyway.
think about that, Tracy?
Well, when you said the word weakness, I mean, my mind went to, because I have coached CrossFit for like 14
Right.
years. So obviously I've seen all levels of men's fitness of strength and weaknesses.
Right.
But honestly, a true weakness to me for a man is like not owning your mistakes, like who always put it off on somebody else. That's very weak to me, and that
Okay.
bothers me more than a man that I can outbench press. I mean,
Justifying it.
Yes.
yeah, just like never owning your mistakes, never
Right.
owning when you aren't delivering what you should be, or making excuses why you don't have this work or why you don't do something.
Okay.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? To me, that's like
Yes.
a huge unattractive quality and therefore a weakness.
What do you think, Tanya? Do you agree with that? Or you? what?
So, when I think of weakness, I don't think about the physical aspect of it. I think about how a man treats a woman. That's to me the biggest. If they degrade a woman in public, their wife or even their mother. So it's all about how a man treats a female.
Is it all females or just a significant female
It's all females.
across the board?
Yeah. I think that men should, we all have stereotypes of what a man should be, but
Right.
I feel like men should always respect a woman. Unless, of course, a woman is just being downright.
So she tries you on that level,
Right.
right?
But then you have to be, let's step back. But I
Tactfully.
think in public,
Right.
you should respect women.
Got you. Do you think that, speaking of public, do you think that the public or social media or just influencers in general have challenged that aspect of the weak man, or what is weakness in a man?
Oh,
Have
most
they
definitely.
have they sensationalized it? Have they belittled it? What have they done with it?
I
in this
think
day and age?
now it's gotten better because now it's okay for a man to wear pink, a man to cry
Right.
if they're hurt and to express their feelings.
Okay.
So I love the way it came from being you have to be a man, you can't show any weakness by crying or folding.
Right.
Now it's okay for you to show that, and weakness is not crying. Weakness is not wearing pink or
Right.
having their feminine traits, because I think men and women both have feminine and male traits,
Right.
and it's the best of both worlds.
I think men that can talk about their emotions or
Yes.
show them in public, that's definitely a secure, a confident, a trusting person, and that in turn can be trusted.
Okay, so that kind of goes into my next question. Are they characteristics that are categorized as weak that are really not weak about a man, and you said emotions. So on that, is there emotions to a limit? Is there too much emotions, or is it just, put your heart on your sleeve and let us love you?
I don't like to have a man cry about everything constantly.
Not everything.
But I mean, under a serious topic or something, if there's no emotion there, then I'm thinking, what's wrong with you?
Right.
So some is good, I think. And that goes for females too, though. Some woman's always crying.
Yeah.
Nobody, I
Yeah.
mean, so I don't know. But society, I think it has gotten to be like, if they go out on the limb a little bit, we talked about this earlier, and maybe are a little bit open about something, then it becomes a meme on social media
Right.
that they cried or said something, I don't know,
Yeah.
that
Gotcha.
made them appear weak.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does. I think that, of course, one of the gentlemen said yesterday that it goes in every direction. On one side of it, it can be nurturing and acceptance of this emotional man, touch his feelings. And on the other side is like, drive a big car, act like a man. Eat a cup of concrete, act like a man. So when you have the noise, be it parents, society, peers, whatever, saying, this is what you're supposed to do, supposed to conquer that beast, take over, do not be emotional. And on the same side, it's like, it's okay to wear pink. Where does the man find the balance in what to listen to or how to move forward? Because you have to think about, in society, at some point, there's a face value to it, so you have to be accepted. You need to be accepted to move through the space. Where's the balance at?
I think that comes with what Paige was saying about the self-esteem.
Right.
Just being confident with yourself and, bump what everybody else cares.
Yeah.
I've always been like that, so maybe I'm just
Yeah.
different, but I don't care what anyone thinks about me. So I think other people should feel like that, because when you think about it, who cares?
Right.
Who's really looking at you?
Right. I know, Tracy, you have a son, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have boys, and I've seen her boys just in life, just being in life, and her children just in general. They all have the theme music behind them that she has behind them. They all just break off orchestra, but nonetheless, they have that level of, I can do whatever I want. I can take over the world. I can, what did you guys do in your household that was different? Because I've met your husband. He's a passionate man. He's a man that's in touch with his sensitivity. He has presence, and you can't tell him he's not the shit. You really can't tell him he's not the shit.
I
Can't.
love that.
He has that swagger about himself.
Yeah.
And people are like, well, he's man, but you can't tell him he's not the shit, right? And so, what did you guys do in your household to just arm these two gentlemen that just are kings?
We just, it's the confidence level.
Yeah.
Let them know that there's nothing they can't do if they try. Always respect.
Right.
Just always show respect. Be very down to earth.
But do you think it is, and I'm going to push on you a little harder, do you think it is let them know or make it a standard? Because the impression I got...
It was a standard.
So it wasn't about
Yeah.
let them know. It's
It
like,
was- yeah,
did you
it's-
open the door for that person today? Did you handle your business? So
Yeah.
therefore, it's not just a standard. It's the say it out loud, and there's the accountability side to it. You're checking on them to assess them. Are you being as great as you can be?
And then just making sure that they know there's strong men in their life around them, whether it's their father, their grandfather, uncles. They
Okay.
always had strong men in their life.
Got you. So let's talk about that a little bit, because the guys brought into conversation. I think it was Delvin that talks about positive male role models, positive male influences. You have met the men, and most of your grandfather, uncles, and grandparents, and they are strong men. Do you see the importance, Tracy, of having men that are not related to you be a positive role model in your children's life? And your son's
Oh,
life?
absolutely. I mean, they're teachers, coaches that definitely, I think, sometimes my husband is very involved with my son, and,
Right.
But I do feel like, I don't know if it's just where we live, but there has been a lot of outside male role models
Right.
other than just family, because we don't have any family here, which, has been wonderful for my son.
Right.
Because it is hard navigating today at 18 years old and getting out there in the world with all the messages that are being, out there on social media
saying that,
and
yeah.
TikTok and all this kind of stuff, and he admits to that. But I think one of the things is like, I've always talked to my son about just, being open with people and being, interactive. And I am really proud of the fact that, like, this past weekend, he met all these people and had these brilliant conversations and wasn't like looking at his phone the entire time, because that's kind of something we have made a point of,
Hiding behind.
yeah, hiding behind your phone. If you're and even when they were little, if they were spoken to by like an adult, say, oh, "Hi, how are you?" I was never that mom that was like, "Oh, they're shy. They don't." Nuh-uh. You
Engage.
better speak up.
Engage, right.
What do you say? Because I always would do that, because I feel like if you teach them early not to speak up for themselves, then they won't.
Right.
And so my kids both can talk to anybody, and probably too long.
That's home training.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it is.
It's the value of that, the importance
Right,
of
it's home
It
communication.
carries.
Yes.
It carries. It really does. And I didn't realize it until, they're older, and I've watched them work a room that I'm like, holy shit,
Yeah.
they're like they're talking to
But
everybody.
they've watched you.
I guess.
And your husband. I
Yeah,
mean, they've
yeah,
watched
yeah.
y'all feel comfortable and
Yeah.
not getting in your head about, oh, should I talk to them? Oh, I'm not.
Always the person
this and
not
that.
being taught. This is my big
Yes.
thing too. If there's somebody sitting by themselves or no one's talking to them, that should be your
Yes.
mission, your first priority, because
Engage.
because they think how they feel in that moment.
Right.
And so I've made a point of always saying that, and I just pray they always do that when I'm not even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about your children. You never really see them at their best until after the
That.
fact.
Or someone tells
Tells
you,
you,
oh,
that's
I
the
met
best.
your,
Yeah,
guess
yes,
what? I
yes.
met your son, your daughter, and wow.
Yeah.
I love talking to them. And
Yeah.
it was unreal, the conversation
That
we
makes you
had.
feel.
And
That's like the best feeling. Is
You're right.
Yeah.
So,
We talk about children, not the men. Now.
the young men.
Sorry.
Yeah,
We love you.
Right.
Moving on.
Yeah. Well, okay, let's talk about, is vulnerability a weak characteristic?
Not at all.
Why
don't
you
think
think
so.
it's not a weak characteristic, Tracy? We'll get to everybody's opinion on that. Vulnerability. Do you think it's a weak characteristic?
Define that to me exactly, though.
Being vulnerable. I mean, that can check the emotion box. That can check the cry box. That can check the, excuse me, you hurt my feelings box. Just being vulnerable.
I just feel like vulnerable and honesty are kind of, to me, like
Yeah.
honesty is very important,
Right.
So I don't think that's a weakness at all. I think that's bravery,
Right.
That has to come, in my opinion, that has to come from the woman, though. If we've got to make each other feel comfortable and not judged and not get in our own head about, oh, why is he doing that?
So you need to make it okay for me to be.
Vulnerable.
Right,
Okay,
because
gotcha.
who am I to judge, or who am I to say, why is he thinking that, or why is he doing that? It's, we both have to feel comfortable. And again, if once we get in our own head, no one has a chance. Whether it's your
Right.
husband, your friend, that's just not where we need to go.
Gotcha. Tanya?
And it depends on the situation. You can
Yeah.
be vulnerable about, like you said, crying is one thing, but going out, opening yourself up for fraud or something. So it just depends on the situation. But no, vulnerability to me is not weakness at all.
In society, we're raised 90s baby, we're defined by what our fathers said. What father figure, whatever that male role model in your life is, depending on whatever the situation you're dealing with. My father was checks and balances. He provided those things, but when it came to raising me, he was not raised by his father, so there was a challenge for him. So for him, it was just like, well, if you're got a job, 9 to 5, pay your bills, life is good, and that was enough for him. And having a son that needed more became a challenge for him. So therefore, I had to seek my male role models outside of them. And lucky enough with the church and Pathfinders and other people that were, I think it was Mr. Lomax was one of the gentlemen that he had girls, and he's like, I want to fly a kite with your son. Well, I was like, that's cool. Next thing you know, I got a love for flying kites, and she allowed, because she understood where my father excelled and where he struggled. So therefore, she offset it with allowing other positive male role models in my life. Now, mind you, I didn't know where they were at the time. I just knew that with situations that would come up, there would be a person that I could talk to outside of my father that I trusted. So with that, it was a conditioning, because you could just say, "Hey, talk to the pastor," but if I don't trust the pastor or the pastor,
Right.
I'm just basing it off because Jesus said, as opposed to I have a relationship. So allowing your kids, your gentlemen, and your men in your life to have relationships with people that can help them sort out what they're dealing with. Because one of the things about being weak or finding a weak part of your life is something that you're battling with. You can be weak to the point where I just yell at women because I'm a narcissist and I want to quiet the noises in my head and be being an asshole to everybody within the sound of my voice. Checks that box for me. But it can be in the same sense where just I fail in this area. In this area for my life, I'm timid or scared, so therefore I don't go at it as what society or my wife or somebody mad to me might define it. You should be attacking that. And I'm like, that ain't me. So even me going into this mindset of trying to attack a situation for you makes me even weaker, because now I don't know what to doing.
Yeah, it's not natural.
It's not natural. So for me, it's yes, okay, that person, my boss or whoever significant, whoever I listen to might say, I need you to do this. But allowing that person to find the best way to do it and accepting the success as opposed to the path will be better for a person dealing with this situation.
So flipping the questions around, do you think your dad noticed though that you were the type of person that was willing to talk about things, very non-judgmental, caring? Do you think that made it easier for him to say, "Hey, Lester loves me, and I'm going to give what he's giving"? Do you think that made it?
For my father, I think what made the difference for him is that I had purpose in his life. Before, he's provided for me. He's making sure the bills are paid, I have an education, yada, yada, yada. As he got older, when I need my son just to talk to. Or
Yeah, the
my
tables
son,
turned.
So the answer is
The
yes.
tables
He,
turned,
yes,
it changed where he started seeing value in my life. And where I said, it's okay.
That's vulnerability.
Yeah, right.
My
It's-
tequila, yeah.
tequila, right.
Yeah, it kicks in a little bit, but that,
That
that's
is a vulnerable.
how.
That is.
Yeah.
the
Yes,
vulnerable.
you come into that.
And a lot of times, we are not, or you don't have the opportunity to see it that way. So therefore, with the upbringing, with the situation, it allowed me to see it. Allowed me to define him in a different way, where it brought value to everybody that was involved.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, some of our young men don't have those positive male role models.
And that's where, and you're right, because so many mothers are really those father figures, and they have to be, and it's sad, and that's why you have the Boys and Girls Club and 100 Men of America and
Right.
those, like you said, mentors and coaches. It is important for young men to be able to trust someone, and it's not always the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
No.
thought you were to say something. And let me ask you this: so, how do we, speaking to single mothers, get them to understand the importance of this? Because some of them are lucky enough to have guys that are not trying to date them or get at them actually
Yeah.
want to imprint onto this particular kid, be it a coach or whoever, teacher or whatever.
I think nowadays people got to be so careful because there's so
Yeah.
many weirdos.
Oh,
Right.
absolutely.
You're
I mean,
right. People have gone crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people
Literally.
are crazy. But
You're
if you
right.
can't find that trustworthy person, or like there's a couple people in town that I know are excellent coaches, and they take young men and females, but young men, and they're getting them physically fit and able to do these sports.
Right.
And just like the little things and I've watched them interact with these young men, and they're like down to putting their equipment away and how they talk to one another and how they help each other. Like I've watched the correction take place, and just to see, because some of these boys, they don't have that.
Yeah, they don't.
And their mothers probably worn thin and whatever. And so to see that, I think is really good. But, again, I can't relate to it, but I do appreciate the men out there that are willing to do that.
And I agree with you on that as well. And like you say, we do have the Boys and Girls Club and so on and so forth. But when
Priceless.
when some of these entities are by demographics pigeonholed to one particular when they can really address all and everybody across
Right,
the
that's
board.
true.
So they'll say, okay, we're the Boys and Girls Club, but we're going to aim it at this particular income bracket, these particular kids, as opposed to, the successful mom that's so loyal, that's killing it, who's a kid who has a son that's struggling because she's too busy checking the boxes to make sure that he has that positive role model. With this conversation, one of my plights is to make sure it reaches the right people and to build a platform, build a tree that these guys can pull from, that are tangible people that actually are going to give your kid, give your kid their best of themselves.
Like your best friends.
Yeah.
When they say you love your best friends and they've grown up with that, they are confident. I think they don't think about it at the time, but when you know someone else loves you
Right.
more, aside from your parents, again, my tequila's kicking in, just don't. But I mean, it's good for kids,
Right.
even when they're adults, to see
Good,
that my
healthy
mom's best
relationship.
friend,
Yeah.
wow, she really loves me.
Yeah,
When I see
yeah.
her,
Well,
Yeah.
You're correct. And, just like your godfathers and
Right.
your other friends, they have to choose to create a relationship with that young man, as opposed to just being Uncle so-and-so because somebody said so.
So,
Yeah.
right. Getting to know them.
My son's godfather, Father Chris, they have their own relationship. They communicate on their own platform, and I push that narrative. So therefore, he has somebody to offset, and he has
Right.
a safe place that he can go to. And I know that he will absorb Mark, give him good content, guide him, and Mark doesn't worry about him telling me everything because Chris is not going to bring it to my attention unless there's a red flag.
Right.
Right.
Otherwise, it's Mark's
Detrimental.
safe place.
Yeah.
So I've created that platform for Mark's safe place with this particular person, and so on and so forth. And being able to create that with these young men, that they have a person to go to, they have that machine they can raise against, they have that wall they can beat on and be wrong,
I
and
think
be broken.
some of the best mentors are male educators, especially early education. I really admire them because they are the ones that are molding not just the males but the females too. So I
Right.
love it when I see a young male come into my office and they're an educator.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the, I know you talk
And
about
that's why they were
coaches.
put there.
Exactly, and
Right.
especially if they're doing it from their heart.
Right. Well, to be in education, just in general, you have to do it from your heart because
Yeah.
it's not about
Yeah,
the
it's
money.
not about the
Lord,
pay.
It's not
no.
about the money.
Not
you
at
have
all.
to
Right.
accept the broken because a lot of these kids, they're going to crash and burn. They're going to break your heart on the way to come to a conclusion, and they might get that conclusion long past you. When they're 20 and 30, 40 years from now, they'll be like, yeah, Mr. So-and-so was the bomb, and you might not ever reap the benefits of that, but you have to
But
selflessly pour.
Right, but it's just such a beautiful thing.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
It is to see a kid get it.
Yeah.
And see a kid see value in a person and see the fact that they see it's necessary and they yearn that from you. With my time with the housing authority working with these gentlemen, you would see that they would see them step up to the plate where you provided it and have the ability to show them. We had a young man that his truck broke down right outside of I think it was Robin's Rent, attending City Valley Rental. Now he didn't know that I knew all those men in there because I rent from them on a regular basis. He's just a little black kid with a broke down Volvo, and nothing but a bunch of white men staring at him and looking at him like, and he was just like, I don't know what to do. I said, go in there and tell them you need help. Now I told the guys to help him. They were queued up and ready, but I wanted him to ask
Yeah.
a stranger for help and then be successful at it. Because one thing to ask, they already have a default setting. It can work. It's gonna fail. We're gonna mess with me. The police gonna come, but they don't have any faith. So they need to see faith actually in action. So he walked in there shyly, looked around. They just like, hey, how you doing? Engaged him. What do you need, young man? Okay, yeah, we got you. Yeah, we'll give you some gas, no problem. We got you taken care of. He was like, man, these strangers help me out. Oh my God, I didn't know what happened. And he was so elated by the experience of it that I
And
never
that's
told.
a godly man and a strong man that does not, hey, I told them what I was
Yeah.
asking them. I
No,
mean,
Need the,
No.
yeah.
it makes them feel confident, secure that they helped me,
Yeah.
and they don't know it came from you,
But
if you
little
will.
small wins, little things like that in your life solidify you to continue to on
The
this path.
yeses.
The yeses, little yeses, and they don't have to be. A good friend came to me many years ago, and I was just at my wit's end, and she was like, "I know you want to reach that goal, but did you celebrate your small wins?
Gotta crawl
There's-
before you walk, and gotta
There's
walk
so
before
many
you
of
run.
them. I'm like, yeah. You know, small wins. You know what? Everything gets you know. Did your fingers work today? Yeah, small win. Your car started up? Yeah, small win. You get
right.
somebody small win, and when you start counting them and you teach these gentlemen the value of these things, they'll see them as they're bountiful. They're everywhere. They're constant to the point of outweighing the bad win, the losses.
Gratitude list.
Yeah. It goes up high, and from there, their self-esteem rises because they are able to achieve these goals. You know, a lot of times we put ourselves in situations, or society, or our other male counterparts give us vast, you know, and then we aim at that, focus on that because another
gotta
man that
do
we
this
value.
first.
And we miss that whole walk down that hill
Yes, that's
situation,
right.
and we just want to just run, and next thing you know, it's like they are doing us a disservice as men. And by default, you know, my dad ran me into walls. My dad walked a mile, so I should walk a mile. Let's walk a while, and it's not necessary. But in the same sense, we're still pushing that because we want to see everyone see them go through what we went through for shits and giggles, whatever the purpose is. And in a sense, we taint these guys. They meet failure so hard that they can't see a small win. They
When
can't
they
even
get
dream past
when they
that.
go so high and they fall
So hard, yeah.
That's why I tell my clients, you gotta crawl before you walk before you run.
Yeah.
Just pace
You know,
yourself.
I understand the importance of that. So with vulnerability, being vulnerable, we agree that it's not a weakness, right?
Correct.
Oh, wait, no.
Being in touch with your emotions, it's not a weakness, all right? Now, how do you, as a woman, be it a husband, a significant or other, when you see your significant challenging something they're challenged with, how do you guide them along? How do you coax them along to get them past that, whatever it is?
I know if my husband brings up a subject, then it's bothering him.
He says it out loud.
If he says it out loud, it's bothering him because he does not like. I talk about everything and just, bleh, you know,
Yeah.
like I need to get it out. I don't need him to tell me what to do. I just want him to hear me.
Hear it.
Yeah.
And then
You just need to voice it.
yeah,
Then
and
it's
his
off
house-
your heart, off your head.
yeah. And then I usually figure it out. But like when he's speaking to me, then I kind of, you know, will say a few things. I ask a few questions.
Yeah.
You know, that I'm interested because I don't act like I don't care. You know, because I do care. But ask him like a few questions about it and just kind of give him some perspective from my point of view. And he does literally take it in. You know, it could be with his job, which I know nothing about.
Right.
But it's like, but he's still sharing this information with me, and I'm trying just so number one, showing him I'm listening,
Right.
I care, I know it's bothering you, so I'm listening, and I want to have this interaction with you. I haven't solved anything.
Right.
I was
for
just
him.
thinking that you don't want him to say, "She's solving this for me." Like I just need to voice it.
I
like, get it out.
and I want to just know that him to know I hear you and I get it. But yeah, I guess that's
What about you, Paige?
I agree.
There you go, co-sign it.
What? What?
So there you go, co-sign it. But yeah, I get you. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, you just need to listen. It's kind of like, you know, today when I had to go into Cookie Fix, and I was stressed about it because I'm like, I've got this thing, and I was like saying, "Fuck, what?" And he just listened to me. He didn't go, "I fucking just came home from work and you're," he was like, he just let me do it. He didn't say anything, and so I'm like, I'm so sorry that I just dropped that on you.
Yeah.
But he, I agree. Men just want to be heard too, and they don't necessarily need you to a lot of words.
Yeah.
Just
But like
listen.
you know.
Yeah.
What about you, Tanya?
Just support
Support.
and reiterate what they've just told you.
Yeah.
You know,
Just
so what
asking
I'm
back the
hearing
question.
is,
Yeah.
so they know that you're
Right.
listening.
Right. Yeah. And that is it. Being able to, like, just like you said, Tracy, the key thing. They're not going to bring it up. We're not going to bring it up unless it's a problem.
instead it's bothering you.
Like,
It's got to be.
If I can solve it, I'm normally quiet. What are you doing? I'm fine. I'm just sorting something out. No, I'm good. But if I bring it to your attention, I want you to automatically, right? I don't even have to say, "Hey, Tracy, this is." If I say it out loud within the sound of your voice, you know off the rip that this is an active problem for me.
Right.
That I'm dealing with something, and I want you to address it. I want you to acknowledge that, or co-sign. Just say something that let me know that you are listening and you are dealing with this. And from there, then it gives us that place to, now we can land this big ass plane that we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Sympathetic to what he's feeling.
Yeah.
You know, but I think because I got married so young, I think we talked about this earlier. We both were like what, you were 21 too, right? Yeah. We were both 21. So I feel like,
Wow.
yeah, it's a miracle. But
Rare breed.
I know. But, you know, I think early on, probably he would come to me with stuff, and then I would go right into my problem's bigger than yours. Let me hear it.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Outdo
Oh,
him.
God.
You know,
Oh.
I didn't get that, like, because so he had to raise me pretty much, kind of.
And see, mine was just the opposite. It was like mine didn't exist.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Oh, your problems didn't.
Yeah,
okay.
it was, you know, and plus I didn't work, so he was, you know, coming home. He was the one that was working, so he was the one who had all the problems. Being at home raising kids wasn't a problem.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you mean? You're,
Yeah, you're at home. You're not doing anything.
Yeah.
are we? Are we really not doing anything?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, having that safe place to land that plane, and that's across the board, be it your wife, be it a counselor, be it a teacher, to land that plane, because we all are literally circling with these emotions, and we're looking at all the landing strips, be it our friends, our buddies, school, and
Where to land it.
where to land it, and there's no place to land it. To the point where we just run out of grass, and then we just crash, and then we do some dumb shit, and we blow up a situation because we're literally circling the drain, and we have no place to land these emotions.
You know, and I think now I think it used to be like that more so, especially in the black community. We
Yes.
didn't have, people would always tell you, pray about it.
Yeah, those
But
with Jesus on it.
Right, pray about it.
Jesus on
But
it.
now it's okay.
Wait, you're saying that
That was
said
back,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
pray about it. You don't have a problem, just
Yeah,
pray
just pray
about it.
about it,
But
yeah.
now it's okay to go to a therapist or a counselor.
Everyone needs it.
Everybody needs
Everyone.
someone, even
No
if
doubt.
the counselor is your hairstylist. Like my husband's a hairstylist.
Yeah.
He counsels a lot
I
of
bet he
people.
does.
He's
Yes.
a therapist, and
Yeah.
it's beautiful when he comes home and tells me how he was able to help a certain person
Yeah.
with a situation.
Yeah.
So yeah, what you're saying about circling now, I think people can go. It's safe.
Right. I agree with you, but my challenge is that, okay, us as adults, we know this thing. But you drop it to the 30s or the 20s, and you put them in certain demographics, and they're still trying to find a place to land. You know, a lot of us, Devin was talking about coping skills. We don't have the tools to deal with emotions. We feel them and then we react. My teenage daughter, when she's upset, and she full emotion all over the place,
Yeah.
just hitting
Yeah.
everything, knocking everything over like a bull in a china shop.
Yeah.
But in the same.
But that's her way of coping.
Absolutely.
And,
Yeah.
and there are
Remind
places
you,
to
I
do
taped
that. There are
everything down, I
places.
strapped everything in, so therefore, let it
But there are
loose.
places that she can go for that. And
Yeah.
and I think now we have more ways to communicate, but people don't communicate. I look at when I go to restaurants and I look at couples at a table and they're both of them on their phone.
It's
know.
terrible.
I
That's
think
bad for them.
so.
I mean,
Yes,
I'm
I'm
like,
sad.
not that I'm judging, but I'm like, oh,
I
man,
am. I'm
why?
judging.
Yeah, really, because
Well, someone told me that, so they may be looking at the menu because a lot of times
Oh,
that's
yeah,
something-
that's
No.
true. But not
No.
the whole
really.
time.
No.
Put it down. And I love to
Yeah.
see where I seen a meme where it says, "We don't have Wi-Fi. Talk to each
yeah,
other."
you have to
Oh,
try to
I love
communicate.
that.
Talk to each
yeah.
other.
Well, yeah, the art of, and just same
art of
concept, the art of communication is lost. So therefore,
It
It
is.
really is.
we don't know how to approach the situation except for crashing into it. Instead of,
What do you mean by that? Like,
crashing into it.
Yeah.
There is this movie called Crash. Remember the movie called Crash? There's one thing that I think it was Ludacris was talking, and he said people have put so much effort into distancing each other from each other, like elastic bands. When they finally connect, they crash.
It's- right.
Because we focused on never connecting with you. So everything that I've learned is to stay away from you. So when I have no choice but to communicate with you, I have no
Like-
skill set.
Right. Yeah.
I have
And
no
that's-
skill set whatsoever.
yeah.
Be it a black man talking to a woman, talking to a female, talking to a judge, talking to anybody of authority, talking to a white woman or a white person. We're limited on our skill set of how to communicate. So we've been taught one way of doing it, and then we run into you, it's whatever we have in our toolbox. And some of those
But
toolboxes.
that's when you have to have that home where it's okay. You're just as good as anybody else. You can talk to anybody. That confidence skill.
Yeah, you're right. But and I agree
And you're
with
right.
you.
And some people don't have
I
it.
agree with you in that, this conversation, what I'm trying to aim for is these guys that are in their 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 years old, and they're now quote unquote adults. and their skills, they have little to no skills, so they might have got an education, and they still don't know how to communicate and interact. They don't know how to enter a room and present themselves in a way.
Or
get
come
their
to an
point across.
interview.
Come to an interview, get their point across. They don't, and that defeats them, and hence create this weakness in them that eats them, that can turn into a cancer and of a mindset of, I can never do this. I'm a failure. I can't. We had one student that did not want, was so content with a job at Burger King, the fear of taking an interview on a job that was already his, he couldn't do it. He couldn't see past it because of the mere fact that this is all I know is flipping these
That
burgers.
is so sad.
Right. That is right. That is so sad that this is it's a real thing.
Yeah, it is.
It's a
You're
real
right.
thing. Their ceiling is that light. Their
Right.
ceiling is right there. They cannot
But
see
the
past.
sky is the limit.
They can't see past that. You know.
But don't you feel like all this the phones and stuff like that? And I
Social
hate to be
media.
that sounds so old like I am, but to say the phones are causing it. But literally, I was just at the airport and no one is looking where they're walking,
Everybody's
and
Why-
I'm like ready
why
to
do you-
start f bombing everybody.
Why do you think they called cell?
Yeah.
I know you've heard that because
Wait, what?
why do you think
Cell?
they're called cell phones?
I don't know.
We're literally in a cell.
cell?
Oh, I've
you.
never heard that.
Well, yeah, you literally.
So they're like,
Yeah.
and you're correct because society has made it okay to do that.
horrible.
And nobody has ever said no. Like, for instance, my son, we ought to eat, put your phone down
Yeah.
at the table. We didn't talk about it. And even if we're talking about it, even if he has a phone, he's showing me music, he's playing
Right,
music for
something.
me. I'm taking his phone and making it a part of the
But-
conversation.
Yeah.
But a lot of times it's easy. Just like a whining baby gets a pacifier.
yeah.
A toddler gets a tablet. We want, it's okay, it's convenient to distract them, and it becomes the standard. Raised by cable, raised by whatever, because we're
Yeah.
busy focusing on providing the utility bill or the rent or whatever, and we miss the value of just communicating with
You
your
go
children.
outside and throw a ball with
Right.
your
You know,
child.
I talked to my son. I'm like, when's the last time you were out with a human? I see you're on the phone or online chatting, laughing, carrying. When the last time you see or touched a human being that wasn't related to you?
What did he say?
He was like, and then yesterday he had two girls in front of my porch making conversation, so I couldn't even be mad at him. But nonetheless,
That's good.
I was
Yeah,
great. I think
right.
it's fantastic. I'm just
Texting
like,
somebody.
hey, how y'all doing? Yeah, right.
Are
Okay.
you
Because
AI?
they're women.
Yeah. Yeah, but nonetheless, he still chose to take the initiative to reach out and create an interaction. And the more we are content with this and detaching from each other and answering through text instead of conversation.
Yeah, these
So the right
relationships
lesson-
now.
Yeah, they're literally microwave.
Have you ever heard his voice? I mean,
Yeah, I know.
micro-
I think
and-
we're
but
going
here's-
out, but we haven't talked yet.
right. Yeah.
And here's the thing. These things will happen. They're going to be synthesized, microwave. They're going to flood you with all kinds of stuff. But when we choose to say we're okay with it,
And that's it.
when we're okay
We're
with
saying we're okay
we're
with too
okay
many
with them
things.
doing this. We're okay with
Yeah.
that situation. We're okay with circling the plane and crashing them. We're okay with not communication. We're okay with these things. That's when it becomes we accept it, and then the conditioning comes in. And then I say people don't initially want to put their feet up, but next thing you know, one foot's up. Next thing the next foot's up. Next thing they're leaning back. Next thing you know, they're in this level of complacency, being a shitty relationship because they're okay with that, and we do
Except
not.
that you accept anything.
So then we do not find the need to challenge the narrative.
But if you say something, people may think you're nagging, i.e., your girlfriend, your husband. So you're like, okay, do I say anything? Do I not?
Well, here's the thing. and let me challenge you this way:
Ooh,
learn to be okay with it.
that's like staying in your lane.
Learn to be. I just finished reading this book, the Insatialist. Insatialism. What is it called? It is called
Your tequila's getting
Essentialism.
up.
No, I don't have any tequila. That's just juice. You mess with me. It's called Essentialism, and it talks about learning to say no and being okay with it.
Yes.
All right, you might have a bunch of things on your plate that somebody asks into it, and you want to help them, but you can't. You can't. So you have
Because
to think
it's
about
taking something from you.
from you, right? So I had a person reach out to me. They were like, I haven't heard from you. You reach out to me, even text back. I think it's rude. I said, you've conditioned yourself for the mindset that I'm supposed to respond to you because you reach out, and I'm not. But society says you have to, so we believe we have to. So next thing you know, oh my God, you've been texting. Guess what? Obviously it's not important enough for me, and therefore, in response, everybody's feelings are so soft and
Yeah.
mushy that we get our feelings hurt.
Well, the worst thing that they could have created was that you know that somebody's read a text message
Yeah.
and you hadn't responded.
Oh, right.
You don't know what they may be doing. I
Yeah.
may read the text message, but something else came up and I just couldn't get to it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you're right. You know, just because you think I should respond like that, and we're
But
But you can
conditioned to
change
say,
that on your phone.
Yeah, but
You
here's
can
the
change
thing.
that setting.
Take the red off. Like the READ.
Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just the thought of it.
And here's my thing with you, Tracy. With that, okay, yes, you can do that, but I turn the light on. If you come to my house unannounced, I'll turn the light on, and then I'll turn the light off,
And let you know
and
that-
let
What
you
does that
know,
mean?
Right.
Oh,
And let you
don't
know.
come in. Don't knock on
Let
the
you
door.
know that I'm not ready
You
to receive
should, you should have let me know
Yeah, yeah.
beforehand.
Because, like you said, just like you said, they give you the option to cutting it off. Society gives you an option to ignore it,
Yeah.
and not offend anybody. So we're creating the coddling. Okay, check this right, and they will never know you cheat. So that
Yeah.
you can delete somebody from your phone,
Yeah.
from social media, and
They
link them
never-
too, and they won't even know.
Right.
Yeah.
They're literally
Sneaky.
cultivating the
Yeah.
bullshit, cultivating that blow off.
Yeah.
Let it ride instead of accountability.
Yeah.
Because yeah, you're right. I'm afraid of what they might say, but what's gonna hurt me more? Holding it in that this offends me, holding it in that I don't like the way you're talking to me, but I'm gonna just avoid you and just hold it in because I don't want to hurt your feelings.
No, you gotta let it go.
And I'm holding that shit. That's like
Yeah.
I'm holding fire in your hand. That's gonna be toxic towards you every time you deal with that person.
You've got to make sure though you say it. There,
Okay.
like take some
Spoonful
rest.
of sugar.
The next day, you've got to then comment or
Well,
call
Mary
them. You
Poppins
can't
said a
just do it.
spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. And
Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins said, and I get that. So therefore, you tactfully tell them, listen, I appreciate you think it's important to you, and I get that, but I have something bigger going on, and you need to respect it. And if they can't, guess what? You just lost the
fine.
problem.
Yeah,
and you have
you
to be
did.
transparent.
Yeah. Be
Your
and it can-
transparency,
On it.
yeah.
You have to be that way, and treating it that way allows them to come to the conclusion about you. I want to continue to deal with you, or leave you alone, and therefore you no longer have that hanging chat to worry about. Oh, damn, you were
That's
supposed to
right.
call me. I ignored the last time. I
Now
don't
they
want you
know.
bothering me. Yeah, they
Now
know.
they
They already
know.
know. And instead of us always finding a way to creating an environment to coddle each other and make us feel good instead of just being genuine. Because if I know, just like the asshole you call, when you know when you deal with the asshole, you expect that from them. When the asshole's being nice, it's really offsetting. Wait a minute. How you doing? Are you okay trying to borrow some money?
Right.
You're
What's going
upsetting.
on? What do you want?
them to be consistent. So if my friends know that 9 times out of 10, if I call Lester on a Saturday night, he's gonna be busy or asleep. Guess what he's gonna stop doing?
Answering.
Call me on a Saturday
Oh.
night. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I was like,
Call me on a Saturday night, and therefore I no longer have to offend them. I ignore them, and they don't also have to offend me by
By calling you.
Yeah.
So creating that level playing field, but just like these topics addressing with our significant others, these are hard situations or tough things to go through, but they're necessary because when you go through them, you have clarity. You know whether this is going to be a relationship, this is going to be a substance, or this is going to be a whole problem. This is a trigger for this guy, and I need to address it accordingly. But we don't. We tend to coddle, tend to apologize, polish and shine over.
Putting the
Because
Band-Aid over something that
to make
needs
them
to
feel
go
better,
ahead and heal.
and in a sense, we're doing ourselves a massive
Yeah.
disservice. So, dealing with a man that you consider weak, or dealing with a man that you think is a challenge that makes him feel like he's in a weak situation, I think as friends, as lovers, as wives, as mothers, we need to bring it to their attention in a Mary Poppins way, spoonful of sugar. So therefore, they at least are aware of it, because they listen to, especially if you have their ear, and they value your opinion. I think it's your responsibility. Because if we don't, we just coddle another generation of soft, weak men. You know, and he starts selling it to his kid, or vice versa. And if you have a positive male role model in your life that needs to be around kids, and you know a single mother, create an environment. You don't have to introduce them. You create an environment where they're in the same space. You know, I have
Let
a
it
lot
happen
of,
naturally.
right, I have a lot of female friends that have sons, and we always talk about them. But like, you know, one kid, he's into this, this, and this. I said, all right, buy them this, this, and this. All right, I go tell them that you. I said, no, you take that with mom. My purpose is to make you a better mother. It's to arm you, not to be the man in his life. It's to arm you. So when you see it that way, and you fuel them, you give them the ability to be better at them, support them where they need, be positive male role models in their life. That gives them range, makes them look like a whole parent when a son sees them and a daughter sees them. Like mom has that village, and then you kill that weak mentality, that weak mind, that softness, man. You know, some of us are late in the game because we're set in our ways.
Yeah.
We can't do nothing about that. But these young men are still, or anybody that's still pliable is willing to listen. Then I think it's within our responsibility. Are you your brother's keeper?
That's right.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Ladies, oh my goodness, thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you,
Very
Lester.
Coming out.
informative.
We
Thank
loved
you.
it.
We
Yeah.
enjoyed ourselves. I think we really hit on some stuff. I can't wait for the guys to see this and the party, the house party. Next month we all get together
Yep, yep.
and talk it out and come to some conclusions.
Yeah.
All right?
All right.
Thanks
Thanks.
again, ladies.
Thank
Thank you.